I have a picture in my office at home of us in that studio with just the biggest smiles on our faces.
Yeah.
And I keep it in my...
I was wearing 2 t-shirts.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
This hat backwards.
Layer over layer over layer. I keep it in my office as a reminder that even though it wasn't the avenue that we were ultimately going to go down, it was us realizing that we're creative and that we're really good at creating things. And we hadn't found the right arena yet, but we were trying things. And so I keep it there as a reminder that like so much of life and so much of creativity is just about trying things and having fun along the way.
Yeah.
And there, when you look at our faces in that picture, like we didn't know that we weren't great. We were like, this is gonna work. Like we will be the next Blink-182.
Can't wait to play at Red Rocks Amphitheater.
Yeah, dude, we were convinced of it. And so it's just fun, man. It's a cool reminder just to be like free as you're going and create freely, come to the table of content freely, and make whatever comes out.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts podcast, AC Project Reunion. The Afterthinkers have been demanding it, and today we've got it. Unfortunately, I slept in a cedar tree last night, it seems like. So it will
You sound great.
It will be tough to listen to me talk, but that's not new to anybody.
Hey, here to carry the team.
With us today, Matt Fons.
Mr. Matt Fons.
Star of the film, The AC Project.
Thank you.
This will come as a shock to you, Matt, but Ryan preached a few weeks ago and started a new momentum behind this documentary that we made.
Oh, it's back.
Oh,
And now lots of people have watched it. When I say lots, we're talking 5s or 10s of people.
Dozens of people.
so the success it never had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just took 10 years, but now
It aged like fine wine.
It's been out for a long time, but it never caught a following. Ryan started some momentum behind it, and now people have been asking about it. And we always tell stories in our sermons where 90% of our sermons come from is that trip.
Right.
So what an honor to have the 4th member of the AC Project here.
Hey, very excited.
This is your favorite podcast. You are the most devoted afterthinker. You've listened to how many episodes, do you think? All of them? Twice?
Somewhere between there and far less than that.
The honor is all yours to be here, Matt.
I keep hearing.
It's a privilege for you to be here.
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
We're so happy for you.
Do you really quick? Do you want to shout out your dad, who
Randy Fons.
occasionally listens to an Afterthoughts podcast while running?
Yes.
Tell him to be careful.
Doesn't have great success with that. Typically, he had a heart attack while or
Right.
after listening to the podcast.
Listening to the Afterthoughts
While
podcast
running,
while
lifting
running.
into Afterthoughts.
Yeah. So
Love
It's
you,
on-
Randy.
it's on us.
I guess
we have insurance. So
another warning to anyone running might have a heart attack.
Matt, give us a little, bio of yourself. We always reference our friend Matt, who lives in Hawaii. So just go ahead and brag about that, and then tell us the rest.
Live on Kauai. It's great. I mean, everyone always assumes that we have we go lobster diving and surfing and spearfishing and eat poke a bunch and stuff like that. So I do, but
Yeah.
not everyone does.
You just described a normal week for you. Normal day, really.
Not actually, because I have 2 kids, and so
How often
Right.
do you go lobster diving?
recently it's been about every 2 weeks ish.
Okay.
It depends on the swell, depends on conditions, but
And you go out at night, correct?
you go out at night. You take
Okay.
a flashlight. I take a flashlight, a bag to put the lobster in,
Yep.
and then a spear, and then you just go out in the darkness and go see a bunch of fish, and hopefully you see a lobster. And you have a Kevlar gloves on,
Uh-huh.
so you go dive down, just grab it. You got to kind of commit to it. It's kind of like
They're quick, aren't they?
they're so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to commit. It's kind of like surfing of you have to drop in at the right time or you're going to regret
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And so you got to go and
You got to
grab
make
them.
the decision to get the lobster.
Ooh,
Don't be
I'll
double-minded.
foreshadow.
Own it.
wow.
Or else, yeah,
You don't have lobster.
We went
yeah, and then you're not
That's-
eating.
yeah, that's
And
what
if
they say.
all you guys eat is coconuts, mangoes, and lobsters,
and lobsters.
correct?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, your kids don't eat.
Yeah. And you don't have the protein if you don't have the lobster.
That's
crazy,
right,
dude.
That's hard, man. It's
Yeah.
a hard life. We were trying to catch fish, spearfishing for hours last time I was out there. It's so hard. I don't know how you do that, man.
It's unbelievably hard. I don't during the day anymore.
You feel like they know, like they're messing
The fish
with you.
do?
They'll,
They have very
they'll,
quick reaction
They'll stay
times.
10 feet away because they know they have to be 8 feet away. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they mock you.
Well, and
the
because of
entire time.
phones, they have a longer memory span than you do.
That's right.
Or
So
attention span.
I kept going, oh wait,
So
what am I
you're
trying to do again?
Should I get that fish? Why do I need to check my phone? And
What do you got against phones, man?
That fish is gone.
I should swim back to shore and check my phone.
Yeah.
Now,
That's what kept happening.
how do you enter into the story of this table of mediocre guys.
This table of content.
Um,
Kind of fun.
Oh, that's really
Kind of
Wow.
fun. This is a table of content.
We should get
we
like
make a sign?
What's it called when you put a little thing on your desk? Like a little metal.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like a
it's
title.
table of content.
Table
put
of
table of
content right here.
I'll tell Kayla. She will love it.
Kayla, make this a
Kayla's not
priority.
here today, but
Yeah.
she's got a job to do. Little does she know.
Right.
That's going to be great. So, Matt, what brought you to the table of content?
yeah. I think probably Chasing Rabbits.
Whoa.
Tell us
We were
more.
just gonna drop straight
Oh,
back.
boy.
And I actually,
Wait, I thought it was catching lobsters. It's
yeah.
chasing rabbits.
it's
Yes.
Chasing Rabbits. I brought a little something here.
Oh boy.
No, you didn't.
Oh, boy.
No. That is the lamest hat I've ever seen in my life.
Tell us
no.
about that hat, Doug.
Oh,
That
boy.
actually, I could see like trendy people wearing this hat.
Yeah, that's
You know?
that's kind of coming
It's
back
like a
around.
dad hat.
Like
It is.
Yeah.
Threethan would probably wear that hat.
Wow. How do you still have that?
This
And
hat is-
why did you guys make hats?
We made this probably in 2004.
Yeah.
Probably.
Tell-
Yeah.
2003,
21
something
years
like
ago.
There are some people who don't know what chasing
Nate's
rabbits
parents.
is. Give us the backstory of chasing rabbits.
Yeah, because it's not literal. We're not rabbit
Chasing
chasing.
You know,
rabbits
I
was
was
their
never
high school
convinced of that
band.
in the
or
band.
middle school band. Both.
Yeah. So we started a band, the three of us, and a couple other friends started
You guys,
a band.
did you guys
back
meet
in-
at youth group or something?
Oh yeah, we met at youth group.
Correct.
You found out I was a drummer, and then we're like,
Yep.
come play in the band.
Yeah, we all played
Yes.
music.
Yeah.
And then we went over to your basement, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And all throughout junior high and high school, pretty much like 2 to 3 times a week, we would just be in Matt's basement making very subpar music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah. Mhm.
good music, subpar lyrics.
I
When
agree.
you're a teenager.
I agree with that.
Lyrics were okay.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
okay.
The lyrics were good.
I've listened to
The
some of their
singing
songs.
was
One
not.
of it was
I
great.
mean,
Now-
I
now
wasn't
that
gonna
I'm-
say it, but
Now that
teed
I'm
you up
thinking
there.
about it, we were
would
pretty
say
good.
it. You have, so I don't know why you didn't.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. If you're in a high school band, whoever is the drummer, you have
Yeah.
band practice at their house.
Right.
Yeah, so my poor parents.
Yeah, so shout out to
Yeah.
Randy and Sharon Fons. Thank you
They
for
just
your
put up with
sacrifice.
so much
Thank
noise.
you
No wonder
for
Randy's heart
everything that you guys have done for us.
Jeez.
Yeah, man.
You guys were playing the long game on that,
That
poor guy.
Afterthoughts podcast was just the straw that finally broke the camel,
should-
the Randy's heart.
He's like, when will I stop
Straw
hearing?
that broke Randy's
I have
heart.
got to stop hearing these guys do something. We should tell everyone that your dad's okay now.
Oh yeah, my
Yeah,
dad's
yeah,
okay.
he's-
Yeah, he's
That's
fine.
an important detail.
Yeah.
And just the best guy.
It's
ever.
also we kept people hooked for like 8 minutes.
Yeah,
there,
they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
wondering.
tell us how his dad's doing. That seems more important than their
Oh yeah,
band.
yeah. He's gonna pick me up from the airport
you
later
guys-
today.
I'll
Did
throw
you guys-
myself under the bus for a second, but since we
I love
mentioned the
that.
singing,
This is our new segment, Under the Bus.
Yeah.
Yes.
With Watchdog.
In flip chart.
Yes, I was the vocalist. I was the vocalist. When was
Yeah.
that decided? When we were in the studio recording 3 songs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And, we
then-
all gave it a shot.
We all gave
Yeah.
it a shot, and I was the least crappy.
Yes.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it does not mean I was good at all.
Right.
I was the least crappy.
I may be the worst singer in the world. We've talked about this.
Yes.
But I tried.
Mhm.
I wish I could hear
didn't
that.
try. I knew straight up
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even
this isn't gonna be in the running.
I remember because it was after a battle of the bands that we did really well at. I think more because we were just entertaining and had
Right.
fun.
Right.
More so than the music was, Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
prodigy
No,
level.
nobody got that.
Can we also
no,
bring
nobody
context
got
that we did well at like a junior high battle of the band, so it was
Well,
bad.
it's relative.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we still did well.
We did.
Yeah.
We
That's-
did well at this specific battle of the bands in this context, and we got to go record a 3-track
demo.
demo at a local recording studio.
Yeah.
And
Which, when you're 13, you think that's the coolest thing
That
in
is
the world.
cool.
It is
That is
still-
And
cool.
when you're 35, you still think it's the
That is
coolest
cool.
thing in the world.
it is, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. And then came time to actually do the vocals, and
Right.
You were the
was-
oldest.
well, he was
Maybe
like,
that was-
Mike, the engineer, was
I'm
like,
the
so
oldest boy.
okay, so who's recording the? And we were like, I don't know. I guess he's like, you guys don't have a singer.
it.
You are deciding right now in the studio. You're writing lyrics, and now somebody is just gonna sing it. And we didn't even know. He's like, do you want to do like a harmony track?
Oh, we didn't know
I was
what
like,
that
I
was.
didn't know what that is. What's a harmony?
I was like, you mean I sing like different lyrics over top of it?
He's like,
like,
no.
no, that's not harmony.
No, it's not harmony at
I've heard
all.
Taking Back Sunday do that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Uh huh.
And
I've heard Taking Back Sunday do a verse, chorus, and then go into an extended bridge and not go back into a chorus. So we did that
We
with a
did
couple
that
of songs,
with most of
and
the
it was a
songs.
mistake because Taking Back Sunday could
Right.
do it because that bridge was cool.
And they're very talented.
yes.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's the word, talent.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing about that whole season. I have a picture in my office at home of us in that studio with just the biggest smiles on our faces.
Yeah.
And I keep
I
it
was
in
wearing
my
I was wearing 2 t-shirts.
Yep. Oh, for
With
sure.
this hat backwards.
Layer
Uh-huh.
over layer over layer.
Mhm.
I keep it in my office as a reminder that even though it wasn't the avenue that we were ultimately going to go down, it was us realizing that we're creative and that we're really good at creating things. And we hadn't found the right arena yet, but we were trying things. And so I keep it there as a reminder that like so much of life and so much of creativity is just about trying things and having fun along the way.
Yeah.
And there, like when you look at our faces in that picture, like we didn't know that we weren't great. We were like, this is gonna work. Like we will be the next Blink-182.
Can't wait to play at Red Rocks Amphitheater.
Yeah, dude, we were convinced of it. And so it's just fun, man. It's a cool reminder just to be like free as you're going and create freely, come to the table of content freely, and make whatever comes out.
It's well said.
So your songs available on Spotify or any of that?
No, they're not
Maybe
available
we could
anywhere.
maybe we could play a little clip of one of the songs.
No,
somehow.
we shouldn't.
Maybe.
I'll try to
If
find
we
some-
had
I'll try to
them-
find something.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where
Also,
the songs
another
are.
fun shout out to Red Rocks. The what do we call the person that MD? Is that the right? The MD
Music
of all
director.
of all of Red Rocks
Musical director.
is
Oh, yeah.
is a guy named Scott Miller.
Yes.
And Scott was in our band.
Largely
and,
redeemed the band.
and he was our
He is
high
talented.
school friend.
Yeah.
And it
He's
was
very
very
different than you guys.
clear. If you were a fly on the wall in one of our band practices, you'd be like, so these 3 guys will probably do something else with their life, but that guy, Scott, is going to keep doing music for
And
the
he
rest
is-
of his life.
He is like the
musically
cornerstone
talented.
of
So
Red Rocks
talented.
worship.
He's so good.
Which is why I wore this hat.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, man.
There's a chase. You guys are representing yourselves. I'm representing Scott.
Follow, I think he's Spooky Scott
Spooky Scott.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Instagram.
One of
He
the
was
most talented.
in Chasing Rabbits. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when
Um,
he brought, like, we were halfway through recording
Yeah.
an album,
Yeah.
and then we brought him on,
Oh,
and he
dude.
came to the studio and just recorded some piano tracks over every song, and all of a sudden we were like, well, that's the best part of every song.
The engineer Mike was like, "Where's this guy been?"
Yeah,
like, can you
This
guys
is
all
Also,
leave?
can this guy sing? Probably.
Yeah,
We
I'm
get
sure
him.
he can.
For sure he can.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Spooky Scott.
Okay,
Love
so
you, dude.
then you guys were friends through your band in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
We all end up at CU Boulder.
Mhm.
Ryan and I lived in a dorm our freshman year.
That's
together
right.
With our friend Nate.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Shout out Nate.
And yeah, then you guys moved into a place. AC
Yeah.
projects starting to happen.
So
here.
yeah, all throughout college, we're trying to figure out faith along the way.
Yeah, where were you at with your faith when you entered into
the
college?
separation between beginning of freshman year and after freshman year. Like I'd been going to youth group and like believer all that, but like it didn't really hit me of like, okay, I'm gonna actually like apply this for real within my life until like halfway through freshman year.
Yep.
Mm.
That was kind of when it.
Yeah.
came
So
around.
like when I was asking all those questions, trying to figure out if I was an atheist or agnostic or Buddhist or a Christian, Matt, you were like one of the key people like speaking into my life. We were all trying to figure it out together. And then that first year was so pivotal for all of us, which is just so
For sure.
crazy looking
Yeah.
back on.
Because I remember you two kind of like caught on earlier.
Mm.
And then it took me a couple extra months after that I was
Yep.
like, oh, now I see what's going on here. There was a
Yep.
prayer meeting that you guys and Sam Ellis brought me to.
Uh-huh.
And that was a big like change.
Oh
for me.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
light bulb
Yeah.
moment for you.
Because I remember the summer before that, I think I stayed in your parents' basement for like a few months during that summer.
Yeah.
And down in that basement, we would have some pretty real conversations that in youth growing up, I never had like the guts or courage to ask.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like questions like, well, if we were born in India,
Yeah.
then wouldn't we be like Hindu right now? And
Yep.
so what about them? Like that kid is brought up in that family and has this belief system, and they were given that belief system the same way I was given this belief system.
Yeah.
And that really, like even questions like that really started to mess with us bad.
I got captivated by this thought
Yeah.
all the time of like, what does my life actually mean? Like if I was 500 years ago, no one would ever have any remembrance of me. And so like,
That's right.
if that's the case,
Like an
then what is the
existential
point of this? And so I
crisis.
woke up every morning. I started to get a little depressed during
Mm.
that time. I remember that winter break,
Yeah.
and because we had all of these conversations, but they always lacked the hope at the end. We'd just kind of leave it at like,
Yeah.
so anyway, that's terrifying, and then just
Yeah.
that'd be the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
and you are
Took
very
out hope.
you have your mind you would describe. I mean, you're like brilliant in so many ways, and that's what makes you so analytical in conversations. and it's always going.
It can be a trap.
It is
always
the
going.
bug and feature of
Right.
just life for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wait. Bug and feature. What do you mean by that, man?
The bug and feature, it's a tech kind of term of like a bug, but like it can come across as like a bug where it's causing problems in my life.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm using the wrong way, all that, but it's a feature if it's aligned correctly and
Yeah.
all that. So I use that a lot. I'm a mental health therapist. And so the ability to use that with people of like, hey, these flaws, these challenges in your life, all of that.
Yeah.
If you're aligned right, you can actually turn them into something amazing. And for me, that super analytical, thinking through things, all of that, spinning sometimes. If I can use it right as a feature, it actually does good things in my life. But
That's really profound.
yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so freshman year, it starts to click for you. Was there a moment for you where it's like, yeah, this I understand what's going on now. I see God in this.
yeah. I think after that prayer meeting, I had some chronic pain issues, and I was healed of that at that time, and that's a whole separate journey of chronic pain and all that.
Right.
One that you and I have talked about obviously a lot, and so but that was like a spark that was like, oh, there's something real here.
Like
Let's
out of
dive
that
into
prayer
this.
night, your pain ceased.
My pain ceased.
Right.
It was building and stuff, and it ceased. And then it gave me, it ceased for a couple months. And during that time, I was like, well, there's something here. Let me go figure out what it is. I started going to the annex more, doing other stuff, started reading the Bible. I still have the Bibles that we got our
Those
freshman
red
year. I saw it in
Bibles,
your
the
house
study
when I was
Bibles?
staying there. Yeah.
Yes.
You still have yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought it up on stage a couple months ago because Jenny Fleetmeyer
Yeah, she
was
gave it to
preaching
us.
that night. And she said, when I was a gymnast, my coach said, if you want to get better, you got to lift things over your head. And if you want to be a better Christian, you got to read your Bible. And she like lifted it. And 20 years later, I've never
cool.
forgotten that.
That's really
I
cool.
exclusively work out with Bibles for that reason. So I misinterpreted that.
You took that.
Dang it.
You're very literal.
He's a
That's
very
very
literal
literal.
guy.
Yeah.
very literal.
Really overthought that one.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I still have that. By the way, it's red. Mine is pink from the sun.
Yes.
So it looks completely
We
different
get it.
now.
You live in Hawaii, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was
son.
outside on the beach reading the
Vitamin
Bible.
vitamin D and vitamin Bible.
So we all at the same time were kind of finding our faith. And then this is such an unimportant detail that people always say. So Doug's senior year, my junior year, your sophomore year,
Yes.
we had a conversation about the idea for this trip.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about it, we knew we're going to make him come with us.
Yeah.
But Doug said the other guy I know that would do this is Matt Fons. And I knew you as their friend. I didn't know you very well.
Yeah.
But what was it in you or what was it in Matt that you thought of all the guys I know, he will come travel the world for a year and just kind of leave everything behind?
I think whatever there is to this whole Christianity thing, Matt, he's not a BS guy. Like he'll BS with us.
Bad strategy.
Oh yeah, that's it. Bold strategy.
Bold strategy.
No, he is a bold strategist.
Okay.
Not a bad strategist.
You know,
It's a bug in the feature.
I'm not a
Okay.
pastor. I can say the words if you want.
Yeah,
It's true.
You said to us right
What a-
before
what
the
a
cameras
freedom.
turned on, I don't have to appease a large Christian audience. And I
as
said,
much as I
the freedom
just a
that
moment.
you must, that is such a foreign, that is Canaan, and I am 40 years of wandering away from that. Wow. My gosh.
Christian audiences aren't tough. They
Yeah,
No, they never critique.
I know. Matt is
our
gonna,
afterthinkers don't though. We have great.
Our
We sure
afterthinkers
do.
are amazing.
we sure do.
podcast.
It's really just stir
Just
the
like
pot,
Matt.
Sam.
Stir the pot, Sam.
And
always
it's
roasting us.
Have you heard about Stir the Pot, Sam?
No.
Sam has some
Be
opinions
careful.
about
Don't
this
let
show.
her find you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so back to Matt being adventurous.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
he's
I'm
he's
ready.
not going to want. I'm like this guy has no interest in a watered down version, in a safe, comfortable version of Christianity, in this American version of Christianity, whatever the biblical version is, whatever the real thing is, no matter how much it calls us to, no matter how much it costs, no matter how extreme. This guy wants that.
Yeah.
That's what he has an interest in. And so for us, reading the Bible for like the first time ever and reading the words of Jesus and going through the book of Acts and realizing, oh my gosh, I think we're just supposed to kind of go to the ends of the earth and tell people about Jesus. And what if we took a year and did that in its purest form that we know how to do? I promise you this guy's going to be all in for it. And not just, not at the idea, because who doesn't like the idea? That's fun to talk about. But when it comes time to really sell all your things and commit and go, this guy's in.
We had a meeting of probably 20 guys after a Tuesday night Annex service.
Right.
Annex was our college ministry. We called all these guys we knew that were passionate about their faith, and we're like, we're going to go travel the world for a year. We're going to chart the course. We're going to go to some of the most dangerous, hardest to reach places. Who's in? And it was already the four of us were in, and nobody else.
We thought other people would be like, oh yeah, because it seems so obvious.
Yeah.
To us.
We were like, let's get 12 guys and go to 12 countries. For 12 months.
Yeah.
We ended up with 4. Started with 4, ended with 4.
Yeah. What was,
and I'm
looking
glad.
back,
Yeah.
that was 13. Well, the trip was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
More than that, when we first started talking about it.
Right.
What was it in you that, when you think back to your college self, that had that willingness to get on a plane, leave your life, go into the unknown, and go share the gospel in faraway places?
You know, I think when I think about that, it just made sense to me. Like, for whatever reason, I've always had like kind of a practical, like, it makes sense or it doesn't. And so even though in a lot of ways maybe that doesn't make sense, career path, all that, it just, for me, it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's what I'm going to go do. And like, I think back to, there's been a number of times in my life where I'm thinking through things, trying to strategize, and I'll like stumble upon it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that just makes sense. Like, cognitively, my brain will just switch to like, yep, that's what's going to happen. So like, college, I went to CU Boulder for 2 years, go Buffs. And we,
Amen.
after that, I switched from pre-med to writing. And my dad was like, hey, have you ever thought about going to a liberal arts school to kind of do more of that type of stuff rather than Boulder where you're doing pre-med? And we sat down, and within 20 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
And so like transferred, moved to California. But there's a few times, and that was one of those times where like, as soon as you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm in, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish
There's like
more of those in life, but yeah,
there's like a piece that you've like learned how to follow.
absolutely.
So we had dinner the other night, and we can get going for hours telling stories. We spent a year together living basically in the same room.
Yeah.
I'll give
Basically
you a little,
married.
I'll give
for
you a
a whole
little
year.
time. And I mean, sleeping on 4 sleeping bags next to each other in
Dude.
whatever country we were
With
in.
like one fan that would oscillate.
Yeah.
And so you feel it every like 10 seconds.
Not kidding. That year was the best preparation for marriage more than anything else in
Absolutely.
my
Funny.
entire life. Yeah.
I remember our Uganda house, we had 2 separate rooms. And instead of one of us or 2 of us splitting up, we were like, oh, we're just going to put all 4 sleeping bags right next to
That
each
way we
other
can-
in the
What
same
did we
room.
do with the other room? I don't
put our
even-
stuff
We
in
just
it.
put our stuff.
And it was just a square room with 4
Smaller than this.
suitcases with
Smaller
4
than this
bags
room.
on the
Yeah.
floor.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
And we'd have mosquito nets. Everywhere we went, we'd set those up.
Yeah. Well, and then when we were in
man.
Burundi, I had to go sleep in a different room because I had some allergy to something in there. And it was still like, leave the doors open. We're
Yeah.
still together.
We need to
So
be able
talk.
to talk.
From our rooms.
Mhm.
So I want to hear from you in that year of traveling. We've tell a lot of stories from this. Most ridiculous thing you can remember, most meaningful moment you can remember.
Yeah. I think definitely the most meaningful moment was the being at the leper colony in India, putting hands on people, and just like right away, we got up there. Oh, and I just thought of my most ridiculous too. Coming.
Was it that same day?
location.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And so so we went to a leper colony. They told us about leprosy, and they were like, okay, so here's people, you can do some songs, and then we're going to pray for people and all that. And so
We're talking probably, what do you think, 30, 40 people with leprosy living
leprosy,
at this place?
living there. And India, obviously very stigmatized, don't like the ability for like to even go into those places is something almost no one does.
Right.
And so Timothy, who we were with, took us there because he knew better too. But when we started praying for people, we just started putting hands on them, praying, because that's what's going to. And we did that. And, there's tears, there's people who are feeling that. And then I specifically remember Timothy after being like, oh yeah, we should put hands on them. We haven't done that.
Yeah.
Like, you've shown that, and being like, wow, these people that we're with, like, they're not getting that physical touch or whatever. And so this is a way that the 4 of us morons could like make a difference and like, kind of be there, just being present and stuff. So
I remember one of the people that worked there telling us some of these people probably haven't had someone touch them in years.
Wow.
And we didn't think anything. We just kind of was like, oh yeah, you lay hands on people when you pray for them.
Yeah.
That was a wild
That
day.
was wild.
Wild experience.
It there was a moment where it just felt like the Holy Spirit moved in such a powerful way that I think at one moment I got up and started leading a worship song,
Wow.
which is awful.
That makes
Spirit
you
led is
really
the
know.
only
But that
reason
is-
to do that.
That is like an Acts 2 Peter preaching a sermon type of a moment.
And that's the
Um,
ridiculous part you were talking
And
about.
that's, yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
you
that was
said the
cool.
ridiculous thing was the same day.
Same day. You know what's coming?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how you're going to tell this story. So be my guest, dude, by all means.
We were at this leprosy colony. So in India, they do not use toilet paper, as many people know. But we did
some
not grow up
places,
in
yeah.
India. In some places, yes. And so the leprosy colony is one of those places that they did not use it. And so, but despite that, we were eating a lot of Indian food that was phenomenal.
Lots
But
of curry.
Oh yeah.
Had the
Lots of
effect of
food.
requiring toilet paper.
We fluctuated a lot in weight throughout the year.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
Haiti,
yeah.
we lost 15 pounds. And that like in Fiji, we were living with an Indian couple in Fiji.
When you have an Indian mom,
Oh my
she will
gosh,
get you way
man.
back on
Yeah.
your body.
It's the
curry,
best.
We had
chapati.
two of
So
those
good.
that were the best. They would just eat more. feed us.
It's
They were so
3
great.
meals, non-negotiable.
And she-
Angela and Angela.
Angela,
that's right.
Angela.
Love them
And
both.
they put more curry and more chapati on the table, and then they look
Oh.
at you like, if you don't eat this,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I,
You have hurt.
it's my
hurt me to my
identity
core.
that's
Oh, yeah.
at stake.
Yeah.
And so you're like,
Oh, they were
yes,
so
ma'am.
great.
I'm
The
so
best,
full,
dude.
but I'm gonna keep
some
eating.
of the best food we've
We
all
one day we
delicious.
got home at like midnight and there was
Mhm.
just dinner on the table.
Yep.
Like we could just go to bed and like we're gonna eat breakfast in 6 hours. Like, nope, it's dinner time.
No,
All right.
sir.
Here we go.
I just remember we started off being like every meal, like I'm so excited to eat this.
Yes.
And towards the end, it was like, how do I not overeat this?
It
And
has
just
to-
be in so much pain.
I have to take a nap now.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay,
take it.
so
So
You needed
we're eating
toilet
this
paper,
Indian
it
food.
seems.
We need toilet paper. I'm wandering around this leprosy colony trying to find a bathroom. Finally find a bathroom. Look down. There's no toilet paper. I'm going to try and find some toilet paper. So I'm looking around. The only thing I can find is a sheet of paper in the corner behind some curtains of a stage. Pick up the sheet of paper. It's been sitting there how long?
Years.
Take it up, tear it in half because I know Doug also has to use the bathroom. And I crumple it up like middle school making toilet paper. I don't know, did you guys ever do that?
Never
Where you like
did that.
crumple it.
I
If you,
just
Oh
use toilet
yeah,
paper.
yeah.
where like
it
you
gets
crumple it
softer
up and it gets
softer
soft until
yeah.
it like feels
Uh-huh.
like a.
Oh,
I forgot all about that.
We could do that. We should get a
We should.
piece of paper and we'll
You
kind of
could do a
start.
YouTube
Should we think- Can
tutorial.
you start doing that?
We'll do an activity after this, guys.
Apparently, if you crumple paper,
Because it
up,
was one of
turns
those
into toilet
situations
paper.
where like you're like, we'll just hold it until like no, there was no,
had to go.
You had to go.
So I crumpled up my half a
choice.
sheet of paper into toilet paper, so it's softer. I don't know. And
Yeah.
use that.
It's scientific.
And then I
That's-
walk up to Doug and I was like, hey, I found the bathroom and this is all the toilet papers that's left. Hand it to you, not telling you what it was, what was from, all of that.
Matt's got my back.
It's a good friend.
Yeah. And
you
then-
guys were
and then
like
told
pretty
you later.
rattled about that for a while. Like, what? Where did that piece of paper come from?
Yeah.
What did we just? Yeah.
In
the floor.
the leprosy home.
Yeah.
Like
But we learned that it's not actually, I think, by skin to skin contact
No,
that you
it's
can
not
track
contagious
it,
that way. And it's, yeah.
which is a common
a lot
misconception,
of
which leads a lot of
misconceptions
people to
about
not
it.
go.
Yeah. Mhm.
But
But we found that out
voice,
after.
Yes.
My voice today has reminded me of another ridiculous moment that
Oh,
we
boy.
shared in India.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead and tell it.
We got split up into doing worship and did we talk?
We did
too?
devotions
Devotion.
every
Yeah.
morning at 7 a.m. in a
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah.
Very early.
Oh yeah.
So preaching
We were-
preaching to the 8:30 crowd is one thing. Preaching to the 7 a.m. chapel crowd in
And you
India,
guys were upstairs in like a nice chapel with all the doctors and nurses. Matt and I were
Yeah,
That's
man.
right. We were
in the basement.
We had
with
the varsity squad.
We did.
housekeeping.
Yeah.
staff.
Obviously, you guys are gonna
'Cause-
go up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
The
makes
last
sense.
shall be first.
Yeah. And again, the best of the worst for singing, got up there with the top.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So,
Doug was the
we had to
biggest
put
worship leader.
our top there.
Best of the worst.
Yeah, we remember when
Yeah.
we sang Barefoot Bougie Night to the women's Bible study at the church in India. We did. They were going crazy.
They
loved it.
They loved it.
Like we have no idea. This has never happened before. It'll never happen again.
Yeah.
I don't
Whatever
know that
this
this
is.
is a worship song, but I like it.
Uh-huh.
This is a song about living life to the fullest. John 10:10.
And it really is.
That's
You
right.
ever been sitting by a fire in a lounge chair? All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So you and I are leading worship. We start off
Which in itself is
So-
just a ridiculous.
Great start to a story.
Yeah. You could play enough guitar to do it.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
apparently was just brought in as a singer, which is not helpful.
You are a drummer.
I am a drummer.
Yeah.
I can do that. And it was Forever Rain, right? That we
Shout out to
started.
Forever Rain.
Gosh, we used to play that song all the time.
A lot. It's a good song.
More often with our talent, but
Yeah, when Doug was with us.
when it was the two of us. And so we started that one, and
It's
you
generous.
started it high,
Too high.
too high.
That always happens when people sing happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
A singer in
Same
the room
thing.
starts it, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey, man.
Yeah, so you start it, you're going, and right at the end, you lean over, you're like, I can't do. And for whatever reason, second
My voice
verse,
is like cutting out just like it is today.
yeah, so second verse comes on, and I'm like, I got this. I'm
It's
ready.
the most confident
I
I've
can
ever
do it.
seen you.
I don't know why I'm so confident. And I start, and I get one word in,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
and that was it.
And
Couldn't
I think
do
I
it.
just strummed.
Just strummed through the rest of it. We
Didn't
kind of
know the
finished up.
words.
You start laughing.
They don't know English
yeah.
anyway,
We were
so it
trying so
wasn't.
hard not to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of looked at us and like, okay, that's it.
That
Can we
was-
pray now. And
That was
You
nice.
guys could just like lead a Bible study
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
sleep.
There was always this weird pressure I think that the four of us put on ourselves. Like, well, there has to be music at every service.
Yeah.
And we're talking like multiple services a day. And so the amount of times some combination of the four of us try to lead a worship song
Oh.
is absurd.
Sad.
Yeah. We're like very good at like Bible study type stuff.
even music,
Even
musically
music.
talented, but
But for some reason we thought we had to sing. And that will preach.
And that,
Oh, yeah.
that brought probably some people farther away from God.
yes.
We probably had that
Hearing us try to
effect.
sing.
yeah.
We
Um,
some
we then
sometimes
had-
we made a difference, sometimes we made a bad difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
when
Yes.
helping hurts.
When helping
When,
Amen. Okay.
exactly. Yeah, when we say make a difference, we never specify
if it's got to be positive or negative.
exactly.
One
Yeah,
great
yeah.
detail. I'm also this is all centering around June of 2012 when we were going to India. I think we had like 20 flights through the course of that year,
Mhm.
and there was one that mattered, that we actually got to it on time, and that it got there on time. That was when we were going to India because we were meeting Matt in India,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that was the one flight that got overbooked and we couldn't get on
And it was delayed for a day, not a
For a
few
day.
hours.
for a
Yeah.
day. We were in Singapore.
Yep.
Stuck there.
At a
Yeah,
5-star hotel
We got put up in a 5-star hotel.
for free.
It was probably the greatest
From
one of the
Air
greatest days
India,
of our
where
life.
we ate lobster.
Oh yeah, we caught up
Full
on
circle
food.
yeah,
moment.
Matt.
Yeah, dude.
But just describe that feeling of showing up to India by yourself.
Yeah. Just, well, first of all, the plan was that we were going to meet at the airport.
Yeah.
That was the whole plan.
And find Timothy, who we'd never seen a picture of,
Yeah.
the pastor. We'll just
Are you
find him.
Timothy?
Not a major international airport or anything. And we can,
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Mumbai.
dude.
So many people.
I'm sure we'll just go to the water fountain,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
or I'm
Meet
sure
you
it's
there.
like one big room.
Yeah, we'll just
We'll
meet you
meet
at
in
the
that
front
room.
doors.
Yeah,
And if you're listening to this, like, well, they would call each other, right? No, because we did not have phones.
Did not have phones.
So we traveled for a year without any phones.
So actually, the reason that we found out is because
That's probably
I
why
was
we were so
sitting
happy.
with Timothy,
That's right.
waiting for people to come out of an area that
How did
maybe
you find
would have come
Timothy?
out.
Did you have a sign?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Wow.
I mean, he'd found me because I wouldn't have.
he probably,
Yeah,
he was
maybe he-
responsible.
he-
He, probably
yeah.
had a sign, or he probably knew
Probably saw us on Facebook.
what we looked like. Yeah.
Yeah.
The number of times that Timothy probably saved us from getting lost or dying in India is.
Timothy's the
Many
best.
times.
He's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Timothy.
So found him. We were sitting out there talking. I had a hard time understanding because in India they do this to mean
Right.
yes,
Mhm.
and I didn't know that. And so everything I'd ask him, I'm like, "Hey, the ministry doing well?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, hard times, you know." It's,
Yeah.
So like, are you excited to have us here? Okay, well, not
Yes.
sure about and
Indifferent.
just had no idea until
He was saying
like 2
yes.
days later. He was saying yes and
Yeah,
agreeing with me
yeah.
and like supporting and
Yes.
just like this guy does not want me to be here. And then we got a call from his daughter who called and was like, "Hey, they sent an email. They're not coming." So I ended up going to a hotel in the middle of India in Mumbai, like
Yeah.
wandering around with him. Like, what? I remember that night looking up from my bed with a bunch of other people in the room because we shared a like big
Yeah.
room
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
a bunch of other men.
Uh-huh.
And looking up at a fan and a giant crack in the ceiling, just being like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
Like, I know this felt right
Uh-huh.
to say yes as we referenced, but what is going on here?
When one of the main storylines for you through that year was kind of trying to figure out your identity
Mm-hmm.
and who you are. 13 years later, you're a mental health therapist. You have a family. You've, I think, gained a lot of confidence in yourself. A lot of people are struggling to figure out who they are and what that means for their lives. What's that journey been like, and how did that year propel you into where you are now?
Yeah. I think it's funny. Ryan and I were talking about this kind of like this weekend as we've been staying together, and the the journey for me has been all over the place. Like to just kind of give you the quick spark notes of it. I referenced that with a kid recently. I'm an adolescent therapist.
Spark
Kid
notes?
recently referenced Spark Notes. It took me like 10 minutes to explain to them. So
He's like, is that like Chat GPT? But for
I just
older
couldn't
old people?
understand.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the quick version is essentially I went to my senior year. I was going to be do a psychology program of high school. I do a psychology program because that's what I wanted to do, is do mental health and psychology. I ended up leaning into the medical side of it because they were kind of combined. So then I was pre-med going into my freshman year. Did pre-med for 2 years and was like, this isn't what I want to do. Switched over to creative writing, switched from CU Boulder to California where I studied creative writing, and then did stuff with like film media, left there to go on the AC project, do mission work. And then we had all sorts of ideas of things that we were going to do from that point. Came back, ended up working at a hotel, which was doing room service at a hotel, which was like this, like, what am I doing? I had all these ideas, these plans, like what's happening in my life. You and I were working in Boulder together.
Matt worked at the Omni Hotel and I worked at the Med, waiting tables right after the AC project. That was a really hard year. Like every evening, every night when we both got off our shifts around like 10 p.m., we would like meet up or meet at the Hazel's liquor store in the Scotch and bourbon aisle. And we were like, we were able to buy like maybe one bottle of scotch every 6 months. But we researched everything.
So you go look at it.
And we met in the aisle just to nerd out about it. And and it was weird getting back from, being a world traveling missionary and all these crazy stories and feeling so much purpose. And then all of a sudden waiting tables, doing room service at a hotel, trying to figure out which way is up, which way is down. It was a very strange feeling.
And it wasn't, we just like, it was a good job, good opportunities. That's why we took them. They were there. It just wasn't meeting us in ways that we wanted to meet it and stuff. And so confusing. We ended up doing that. Then I started working I got a different job doing communications for a nonprofit working with foster and adoptive families. Learned lots of marketing skills because they were kind of like, if you've got some skills here, just learn a bunch of other marketing stuff. Yeah. Ended up leaving that. Then probably the peak.
Absolutely the peak.
Into more media with Ethan. Wow. We left and started our own marketing company.
And we're in a series right now in church called More.
Yeah, we kind of spearheaded that years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you use the same font as our company?
Similar.
Is it this font?
Not that.
Not that font. I don't think anyone's used that font since.
Hopefully not.
Is that just italicized?
This is Matt font.
Yeah. Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
So you guys start into more media.
So we start into more media. It is not successful. I mean, we did good work and
you
stuff.
You guys did
but
a lot
like,
of good stuff.
It didn't. Yeah. It didn't necessarily pay the bills all that well.
No.
And then you jumped.
But you guys learned a lot.
We did.
Learned a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You left for Red Rocks, and then I moved to California with my wife. She's from Hawaii and was over the Colorado winters. So we were gone. And then I restarted a marketing company there. It had the similar kind of startup, but this entire time for these years, I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? I used to drive my wife nuts, just like, I feel like there's more. I need to be doing something. And she's like, you're doing fine. Like, just chill. Like, it's okay. And I wish I knew that was the case, because I look back and I was like, oh, you were doing fine. Like, I wish I could tell myself, like, but I had this deep pressure of like to find the thing, to do the thing, to like have that bigger purpose, or like, what am I supposed to be doing, or what? And it peaked at one point. It was another one of those moments. She's like, we were driving up the mountains in California, and she's like, hey, I remember you brought up like counseling and doing therapy a long time ago, that was something you were interested in. Would you ever think about doing that again? And it was another moment, like by the time we parked the car, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go back to school and do that. And so started that up again, and doing mental health therapy, work with kids and parents now. And to be honest, like, I love it. All the experience that I've had has brought me to a point where I'm actually a better therapist because of it. So glad I did all those other things.
That's interesting.
So the ability to connect and have that really roundabout feeling, like, what am I doing, has actually helped me to be doing what I'm doing now. And I mean, who knows? I think I'm finally at a point where, like, if 10 years I go do something completely different, that's fine, because the purpose or the goals of it is okay. And that's not important. Just keep kind of moving forward. And I think that's one of the
so
cool
good,
things
Matt.
of Kauai is we don't have as much of the drive, push, grind culture, and just learning to be like, yeah, just keep moving forward, keep doing stuff, and things will work out.
Wow. Dude, a couple questions. Number one, what do you think it is that people are searching for? What were you hunting for? I think we look back and we call it, I was trying to find out what my purpose was. I was trying to figure out, like, is it purpose? Is it contentment? Is it happiness? Is it, is it, I'm in this job, but I don't think it's this job. It might be this one, or it might be that. What is it that people are actually on the hunt for, do you think?
Yes, I think all of that.
All of that.
Is
Okay.
and that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
In therapy, I use the idea a lot of it can be all of that at the same time. I think sometimes we think it's binary. Is it, am I angry or am I sad? Well, you can be both. And that's what, when we feel like these emotions all at the same time, or these different calls or these different things all at the same time, that's when we, I think, start freaking out. And that's when we're like, well, I'm not in the right zone or whatever, but that's actually a really normal thing to have all of this swirling around. And as humans to figure out, like, how do I draw on God? Like you brought up decision making. Like you can have both these callings and feel these things and stuff. And sometimes just coping with the fact that all this is swirling in me is it.
Yeah. And a lot of times as Christians, not only nowadays is it the paradox of choice and there's a million options of things to do. So the grass is always going to be greener somewhere. And the illusion of perfection. You go on social media and it sure seems like everybody else found their exact purpose and is so happy.
Yeah.
And
their purpose is to just post stuff and get paid.
Yeah.
They don't have
And
to have a
why?
job.
And if I don't have that, then I still haven't found what they have found.
Right.
And then also for Christians, it's over spiritualizing or dropping the God card that leads us to overthink absolutely everything, which I think oftentimes leads to paralysis. I made the point that we make a lot that God can't steer a parked car.
Yeah.
And I think you're the perfect example of somebody who has just created motion and you've tried things.
Nice.
And rather than, the spiritual vehicle that is your life being in park, it's been in drive going this way. I wonder about that. I wonder if I go back to school again and do counseling, which I'm sure was a big sacrifice. And I made the point, even if the path kind of looks like this, that God is really good at getting you where he's trying to get you to go.
Yeah, man.
Just got to give it gas and not be in park.
Totally.
Yeah. So
That's
great.
so good,
yeah.
man.
I think your life is a great example of that. Like
It is, man.
you've tried and you've, is it this? I don't know. I'm going to go find out though.
Yeah.
Investigate.
Are you investigating or are you daydreaming?
Ooh.
There's a big difference
Scout the
between those
decision,
two
Doug.
things. And you've been an investigator.
Yeah.
And I think too, going back to that non-binary, like aspect of thinking about both things is, can you both be present where you're at, investigating, digging in, as well as thinking about the future? And those aren't in contrast. You can have big goals, big dreams, and also be in a place where you're like, I'm not doing any of that, but I'm enjoying where I'm at. And you just, I don't know.
I think most people can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
There's such a discontentment and an impatience for right now because there's that thing out there. And if you've had a mountaintop experience like we did for a year, it's like, well, nothing can compare. So my life kind of sucks now. It's meaningless. It's purposeless. Instead of seeing the purpose of where you're at right now. And now you can look back and see the purpose of every one of those detours, seasons along the way.
Totally. And
Yeah, man.
yeah, and I think the ability to just like lean into that, it's hard because if I were to go back to myself 10 years ago and be like, dude, chill, relax, I wouldn't believe myself either. So like you can't convince them. It's actually like it takes some work to be like, hey, I'm going to practice this. That's what like doing mindfulness or like being present or like being okay. And even just using like, and maybe this is where the therapist in me and like the skills that you learn to like kind of calm the mind, bring yourself to the present, all of that is helpful because I think that's something that I've often lacked or see people lacking is the ability to be like some acceptance of this is where I'm at. And also this is where I want to go. And these things can coexist.
So you're 34, 44-year-old Matt. What do you think he would say to you that you wouldn't believe right now?
Ooh. That's a good question.
You know, I think about 44-year-old Matt and him looking at 34-year-old Matt and be like, boy, that guy does not know. Just because that's so common of like my life. I look back and I'm always like, oh, he didn't know. But I'm also like, I'm glad that's the case.
Hmm.
I don't want to be peaking right now and doing what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I think he might tell me to just, keep going and enjoy it further. Because as much as I can tell you all today, like, oh yeah, I'm so much better at that right now, I got a long freaking way to go. Like I still get, I'm overthinking stuff all the time and dreaming about the future and getting stuck. So
I think you'll be better at lobster diving.
Yeah.
gosh, I hope so.
You should be.
My wife would be so happy.
More
So much
protein.
lobster.
Let me ask you this. We always heard the stat when we were at our college ministry that like 75% of college students walk away from their faith after graduating. You've gone through a lot of spiritual highs and cool experiences, but also some lows, chronic pain. You've dealt with a lot. But all these years later, you still have a relationship with Jesus. What would you credit that to, or how did that stay as the foundation of your life when so many other people walked away?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely never walked away, but I definitely had periods where I wasn't as passionate, especially following the trip and stuff. To be honest, straight up, like I got bored. That was always my big thing. Is I was taking the stuff that was revolutionary for me initially, sitting on it and just kind of consuming that. And then I got bored. I was like, I've heard all this. I understand all of it conceptually. There's got to be more. And so either people are holding out on me was my thought process. Like they're not giving me enough. The pastors or the staff or the church needs to give me more. Or this isn't really what it was meant to be and stuff. And so you and I, when we hiked Kala a couple of years ago on Kauai, we went into this and I just kind of unloaded, like, here's all my issues, here's my frustrations, here's my questions, and almost like the church and God weren't big enough to handle all of that. Because I had, again, come up with an idea or a thought that was too big, too massive, and kind of started crushing me. And I think taking some ownership of it myself, of like, okay, well, I need to dive into this myself with God and not just depend on what's coming to me from church and pastors. And the combination of accepting, like, not going to get some of these answers, not going to, but I'm still going to maintain some trust, as well as I think finally leaning on people. So like Ryan in that moment, leaning on other believers to, I mean, a lot of what you just said was like, yeah, I don't know. But the fact that you sat in it with me was huge. I think that's a valuable thing. As a therapist, knowing the value of sitting with somebody in it was big. And now it's growing into something that's completely different than what I experienced on the AC project. Like my relationship, with God is different, but it's also better and it's bigger.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it allows you to sit with, in your job, you have to sit with people who are going through it, absolutely going through it. And I think your like faith in God and the journey that you've been on allows you to sit with people with so much grace and so much patience, including sitting on the phone with the three of us as we all try to process books and sermons. You're like our go-to guy for that because you're so good at just listening and asking good questions and creating space for the Holy Spirit to move. And so that's what I keep coming back to as you talk. Seems to be part of the thread here is, Doug, that journey you talked about this week of God's going to get you from here to here. And we think it's supposed to be the straight line. Matt's journey has been all across the board to get to that point. But that journey has actually made you better at what you're doing now. And so I think it just debunks this myth that like, I'm supposed to get there as fast as possible. It's like, sometimes detours are holy and sometimes the questions are sacred, and the Holy Spirit's going to guide you throughout all of that. And I think you've always done a really good job of just being really honest about where you're at in that journey.
Well, in that same vein, I guess too, like I currently, like on this day, am in a good place of feeling good about where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm all that. If you talk to me in 3 months, I may not be there again. And some acceptance of the fact that this isn't okay, I reached it and I've got some acceptance. Like a few months from now, a few years from now, I fully anticipate I may be like, what am I doing? Is this right? Is this what and that, I think that having some acceptance of that pattern, and that's okay. And that can even be a good thing.
The career path could change again.
Yeah. You don't reach that point. It's not like I've got a lot of confidence because today, a couple of years from now, we may be having this conversation. I'm like, oh, frick, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with a guy this weekend, and he very profoundly said, faith is a interesting cocktail of mystery and assurance at the same time. And I think for somebody that is very analytical like you, that can be really hard. because you're very logical, you're very smart, and you're going to ask some questions. And if you don't get an answer, the mystery of it can drive you away. But I think you have leaned into that and let your relationship with God grow bigger to actually see there's beauty in that mystery of him while also having assurance in the things that we can know and understand about him.
Absolutely.
So let's close with a segment called Hot Topics.
Ooh.
Imagine you're on the most popular podcast in the world and you have a microphone that most people on earth will hear what you're about to say. I just want to hear your commentary on some of the most common things we talk about on this podcast. Just your thoughts. So the first one, Coach Prime and the CU Buffs.
Pro. Just very pro. Being a Buffs fan is hard a lot. And it has been much more exciting in recent years.
Agreed.
Wonderful.
Even not knowing where it's going.
Well said, Matt.
Well said.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Mystery and assurance. You're a mental health therapist.
Yeah.
With a microphone, say that everyone in the world actually would hear what you had to say about mental health. What would be some pointers or some things you go, I wish the world would hear this from somebody who studies this and sits with people in really tough situations?
I think that two things is one for Christians. Mental health therapy is not anti-God, is not separate from God, is not all that. So I'm not a Christian mental health therapist. Part of me specifically, I became a licensed mental health therapist because I want to work with people who aren't Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, obviously like my faith, my understanding, all that informs who I am and all that. But two, I sit with people who believe and practice other things and am supporting them in their journeys, all that. That autonomy and ability to support them and where they're at is really important, because without it, I don't think you can actually help them. But they are coming to me for support in whatever challenges they are. And so the way that I think about that is being a light, being an opportunity to support them in that. I mean, that's a blessing, an opportunity. But I think with that too, like a lot of times with mental health, think like, oh, we need to pray about it more. We need to lean into God more, and he'll fix those things. But like, I think about myself honestly as a mental health therapist, more like a personal trainer, of like, I just have so many tools, so many abilities to help get you through stuff. Just like a trainer would be like, okay, nope, you're bending your back or you're not doing this right movement or whatever. Like, we can just tear through stuff in a way that it actually doesn't really matter if it's a faith person or not. So I just did some mental health therapy for myself recently to process some stuff and come around to it. My therapist wasn't a Christian. We got through some phenomenal stuff, even of how I view my identity with God and all that too. So I'm not saying necessarily like, don't go to Christian therapists or like make sure that all that you need to be seen by somebody specifically with your faith belief. But I also think that therapy is a skill and ability that we as the church get a little freaked out about, because it's that unknown. And we're like, no, the mystery is reserved for God. But there's a lot of value and opportunities in therapy.
Why do you think that we're in what people call a mental health crisis right now, from what you see?
I don't know. I have lots of ideas, but I don't know. And so the idea of like blanketing it with it's this, I think would be.
Let me ask you this way. Do you think that we've always had a mental health crisis just because we're humans, but we're just more aware of it now because of social media and conversations and openness to therapy?
I'm going to probably repeat myself a lot of it doesn't have to be one or the other or all of this. I think that we've always had mental health issues. I think we've always had a lot of conditions that we're now diagnosing.
Yeah.
They just haven't been as obvious within our culture, within our, I think that we have new issues and challenges that we are facing, and specifically kids. I know you've been talking about some of those with devices and all that. And I think that we have more of an awareness of it. So there's a tribe in Africa that they doesn't have the color blue. They don't have a word for the color blue. You can look up this article, and they don't have a word for the color blue. And so when they were presented with a bunch of different colors, you can look at this ring of colors, and there's a very obviously blue one that you're like, it's obviously that one. But they don't have a word for it. And so they can't differentiate it. And so when the researchers asked them, like, which one is the blue one? They're like, I don't know. They all look the same. Whoa. But they have very specific green colors. And so when they put up greens where one of the greens was slightly different, they were like, oh, it's obviously that one. And I look at that and I'm like, I have no idea which one. And so our language and our understanding and ability to discern
Naming it.
a difference, name it, all of that actually brings a lot more awareness and it becomes more obvious. And so I think sometimes with mental health, we're actually thinking about it now, which thank God we are, because we've had all this. But I think that's also a big factor here.
Interesting.
So let's pay attention.
So you deal with adolescents, and we do talk a lot about smartphones. As a mental health therapist, what would you say to the world about our smartphones?
I would say parents, take your smartphones away from your kids at night. They need to go to bed and they need to sleep. That's my biggest, so many challenges. And also parents, don't be afraid to remove the smartphones. They developmentally are just not at a point where they can handle it. I'm not developmentally at a point where I can fully handle my smartphone.
Same.
Like,
Not
so
sure any of us
protecting
are.
these kids' minds and actually doing it out of
Except for
fear.
Doug.
But it's scary and that's complicated, how
Yeah.
to do that. So
Okay. We're all, the three of us are kind of afraid of AI. Threethan loves AI.
Threethan loves it.
He
love
is
AI.
obsessed
Sorry,
with AI.
sorry. Can I ask
Doug,
one follow-up question?
Absolutely.
Why is it scary for parents? You said it's scary for parents to like make those definitive decisions.
Yeah.
And I agree, but I'm curious as to
I think it's scary. And I work with a lot of oppositional defiance kids where there's all sorts of reasons that they get into that. But it's scary for parents to remove the phones because of a lot of different things. One, it's entertainment for the kid. And so there is less parenting you have to do if they're on their phone. Two, these kids I'm going to throw around a word here that kind of freaks people out sometimes, but they're addicted to phones.
Yeah.
Like if you were to talk about phones and people with phone and also kids with phones in the way using a substance or using something else, we'd clearly use addiction. So a lot of kids are addicted to their phones. And so when you remove an addiction, you're going to have responses. And so you're going to have outbursts, you're going to have challenges, and so parents are like, what's going to be on the other side of taking that phone away?
Yeah.
And I'm not pro like take away your phones. They can only have flip phones or no phones, but allowing parents to be the parents in that, I think is an important thing, because when you give that much power to kids, they're actually not developmentally set up to be able to have that type of power and responsibility. They're just kids. And so be the parents. But that's hard. This is why I have a job and therapy, because it's hard.
It's very hard.
So.
Very hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Brower. We're almost done filming.
No,
Do you want to come say hi? This is our friend Brower.
Our good friend Brower jumping in.
This is our friend Matt from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Matt,
Hey, how's it going?
great meeting you.
Me too.
Special
See you,
guest
bro.
Brower.
There he is.
Hey,
There you
thanks
go.
for everything you do around
There
here,
you
man.
go. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
the best,
yeah.
dude.
Brower, what would you say to parents of kids about their smartphones?
Whoa. It is a good tool to keep him quiet.
Yes.
Oh, bro. Killing me.
It is effective for that.
Oh,
yes. Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah.
Always in their own world when they have that phone.
You are not going to be happy when you listen to this later.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
that's phenomenal. We'll come down there in a few minutes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is phenomenal.
So,
So
yeah.
use them as a distraction. That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
I mean, my kid used his iPad a lot on the second flight here. So they're a tool.
Right.
He's 3 and using the iPad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and
Right.
praise
Way to
God
commit.
for iPads on flights.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Oh my gosh, man.
Absolutely.
we limit those, but on flights, you
They
got
can
to
be
do
a
what you
tool.
got to do. Especially
Sometimes
from
you
Hawaii.
have to survive.
I don't know if you knew I lived in Hawaii, so.
Oh, specifically Kauai?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yesterday when my computer told me I should do the update because it was going to now have the AI,
Yeah.
I just hit not now.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not ready for this. But you are
Remind me
proponent of
tomorrow.
AI.
Yes.
Why?
I think it's coming regardless. And so I think it is such a tool. I sent you all an email last night of some things that we're talking about with the church specifically and how to problem solve, how to all of that. And the ability to problem solve, I specifically use Claude. It's through Anthropic. That's a different conversation, but
That's like an AI bot.
it's an AI bot. So it's like a ChatGPT, but it's an alternative company that builds one. But it's pretty conversational. So I use it a lot in my own processing. of
What's it
thinking
called?
About stuff. It's called Claude.
Claude.
It's pretty wild, man. Matt
Yeah,
had
Ryan and I
me
went through it.
exercise it. I was trying to make a decision. And I was just talking to it, asking questions, and it would bounce back with like,
Whoa.
here's a couple frameworks for thinking about that.
Here's some
Pretty
questions,
crazy.
things to think about. And so, I mean, if you've got a tool of something like that, that's going to, I don't use it to make decisions or to do things specifically that I'm capable of doing, but I don't always have somebody smart, thoughtful, ability to bounce things off of or to make me think about different things.
Yeah, sometimes we're busy. So
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
My
dude.
go-tos are sometimes filming podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ability to think through stuff a lot and lean on the skills I have as a human and myself,
Yeah.
I think is a really powerful thing. And it's also coming. So like it or not, the ability to be aware of it, to understand it for the future, all of that, it's just an important thing. I don't want to bury my head in the sand and then in the future, when it comes out, suddenly I'm not able to keep up with the world and keep doing things because I was like, oh no, I'm, kind of freaked out by it.
So you're
it's a fair point.
So what advice would you give Ethan?
Yeah. Just in general.
Shoot him
Update your
straight.
computer because your computer's going to get hacked.
Oh, hacked?
Yeah, because there's security updates in that too.
Oh.
So update your computers, everyone.
Obviously,
that's
dude.
how they get you.
That's what I've been telling you,
You
to
can't
do.
get the security updates without the
I've been
AI.
telling him to do this every day.
Okay.
You've always been a big computer updater.
Always, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
One
right
of your
away.
strengths.
Right away.
Yeah.
I even check for updates before it lets me know.
I'd say that
Just
might be
curious
your
if
top
there's-
strength.
Yeah.
Probably updating devices.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what
Or
you bring to the
clicking
team.
yes on updates
Yeah.
and
Or
then sitting
some-
there while it updates.
That's-
And not knowing what the update
Very talented.
changes or anything like that.
Great
Just
job on the
proceeding as
update,
normal
Doug.
after the update is complete.
It's a great feature you have.
Thank you.
Not knowing what it's going to update is maybe a bug, but great feature.
Nice.
Way to bring this full circle.
A bug and a feature.
Yeah.
Last one, the AC project.
Yes.
What do you say to somebody that thinks, should I watch it?
Yeah, you
Cut
should
it right
watch it.
That's the end. That was great.
Oh man.
No, Brandon did a good job. You should watch it. He's very talented.
Yes, actually,
Actually, yes.
If you want to actually
They
continue
gotta
to
I will
watch
say
it.
this. We are we're naturally self-deprecating. We are uncomfortable doing anything else. We're uncomfortable even encouraging each other. I'll say we're uncomfortable being encouraged.
I know we were all trash talking you
Oh.
the other day before your sermon, and I was like, I want to actually send him some encouragement, but not in the group chat. Just
You did. You
to the side.
texted me separate.
Separate.
It's like, hey, man,
dude,
you
by
got
the
this.
way, I think you're gonna
Hey.
do great at this message.
I would
I'm gonna
never
put it out
say
to
this in
everyone.
front of Doug and Ryan or Ryan and Ethan.
That's so good.
That's so
Um,
good.
You can text
Yeah.
me outside the group chat if you ever want to.
Dude, when I have some encouragement for you and believe in you, I totally will.
I eagerly await it.
Yeah. I genuinely. What do you genuinely think
I
about?
genuinely think it is. We worked very hard. Brandon did a phenomenal job. making it
Yes.
look as if there is stories in there that are valuable and important. And I am, again, it comes up that like
Yeah.
self-deprecating thing, but I am proud of the work we did for
Yeah.
it. And so if
Agreed.
you do want to watch it, I think
Yeah.
it is worth watching, especially I think that the audience for that, as I've gotten older, it maybe isn't connecting quite as much.
Mhm.
But if you're in that early young adult, early adulthood, all of that,
absolutely.
trying to search and trying to figure out all these questions we wrestled with, I do think it connects even more.
Yes.
That's well said.
Great.
Yep.
Do you guys want to encourage Matt? I can't because my voice.
Yeah. No.
Matt, you're great lobster diver.
Oh, thanks, man.
A great therapist.
It'd make me cry.
Yep, you're welcome, man.
No.
A great friend. Brilliant. Elon once said, he said, people think they want to be me. You don't want to be me. You don't want my brain because it can do so much good, but you don't want it.
Right.
I feel like you have one of those rare brains that is a gift from God to the world. And you've had to learn over the years, okay, how do I have this mind without, we say this about our phones, but without this mind like having me. And you've learned to do that. And because of that, your brain and your life is a gift. And so, yeah.
It's so hard for me to not put a Hawaii story in every sermon. I have to like hold back so that people aren't like, this guy just talks about his July trips to Hawaii all year long
Oh my
because it's just
God,
full of good conversations. So sometimes I will tell a story from Hawaii and not even say that it was you that I was talking to, just so it's not like doesn't count as another Hawaii story. But you're the best, man. We love you so much.
Thanks,
And
man.
we're so grateful for you.
Can't
Thanks,
wait
guys.
for you to move to Austin. You can come back on this podcast, which would be sweet for you.
Can't wait for me to come visit you.
Yeah. guys can come to Kauai.
It's phenomenal.
Can we get lobsters?
You're after the thinkers of the after.
After thinkers.
After thinkers, they are welcome to come to Kauai anytime.
Nice.
Not
Great.
my house specifically, but
Right.
they can come to
Just
the
the
island.
island.
The
Just
island is
Yeah.
open to them.
Well,
The
the
island's open.
invitation is open. You could go to Kauai if you want. And the AC Project is now out on YouTube for free. So you can watch that anytime.
Talked
Available
to somebody
today.
recently who said I can't go to Kauai because I don't have a passport. It's the same as the
wow.
United
Yeah.
States, just to clarify.
Yeah, as
Yep.
of today,
Yeah.
it is the same.
Mhm.
It also was previously, but
Yes,
today,
for
But
decades.
also today.
But as of
Yeah,
right
still
now
that
in
way.
this moment,
yes,
yes, okay,
Yes.
is available.
And
very good.
last thing, if you made it this far, we will be live at South by Southwest on Sunday,
Sunday.
3:30. Donald Gee and Andrew Stanley. It's going to be great.
Can't
So
wait.
we'll see you there. Matt, love you.
Remember when we
Thank
tried
you.
to get the film into the South by Southwest?
Yeah.
Didn't work.
It didn't work.
No.
But look
No.
at us now.
Look at us now.
Full circle.
Podcasting. That's what you always wanted to do.
You heard it here first.
So long, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.